Yo, this is DJDC, and I'm on South Central, brought to you by Hip Hop Zone Global.
Welcome to the first installment of South Central. I'm your host, Zach. I'm gonna let my guest introduce himself real quick before we get started.
What's happening, y'all? I'm DJDC.
Now, you just came back from Florida. Now, let's talk about that trip, because it looked crazy. You know, you had the whole place jumping with the phone machine, so let's talk about that real quick.
Literally, just got back. I maybe been back in town maybe 16 hours now, but overall, it was a crazy experience. I've done it in the past. This was my first time since 2019, but man, nonstop partying and on my end, nonstop DJing, a day shift and a night shift every day. So you get a little.
You was working out there, huh? You was working, huh?
I just showed the fun part.
Oh yeah, we gotta make a little backstage stuff. We gotta show everybody, the backstage and everything.
They don't got no idea.
Now tell us a bit about yourself, your history, how you got into the whole DJing. Tell us about that.
All right. First off, I'm from Michigan, but I'm from a town called Saginaw, Michigan, like an hour from Detroit. I got into music as a kid. My mom, my uncles, other people who was around me, they just always was playing music, and I always was it was in my ears, you know what I mean? But the real turning point for me was when Juice came out. It was already out. I was just young. Whenever I discovered Juice, however young I may have been, that was it. I knew from that point. Then a couple years later, I started watching the MTV. Ironically, I'm playing in the town I used to watch. MTV used to stream Spring Break on TV back in them days.
I remember that stuff. When I came on, I had to change the channel. Because my mom would not let me watch that stuff.
Hello, you had to have it on flashback because they don't tell them what was going to pop up.
Yeah,
I knew then. Juice and the Spring Breaks from MTV.
Now let's talk about, this is gonna be off record question. It's gonna be kind of random, but Detroit pizza, is it really the best pizza out there?
It's fire.
It is. You think it's better than Chicago, New York?
I ain't never had no real Chicago. I had real New York, and in New York's defense, it was fire. It was fire, but it's just I don't know.
Everybody be going crazy for the Detroit pizza.
I'm gonna have to take you there. You're gonna have to put it to the test. But
okay, we're gonna have to go back. We'll have to take a trip out there. Now
hold on. Let me say, I gotta say this though. The pizza, one thing. I'm gonna take you to a sub place out there. It's called Big John's Steak and Onions. If Rib Shack was open, I'd still take you there. But I'm gonna take you to Big John's, and you're gonna be like, bro, what's this?
Bro, all right, we're gonna check it out. Now let's touching back on Florida. How periodically do you travel, or just in travel in general, just to DJ? How much do you do this?
Now I travel to DJ 80% of the time now. I went and did that. Last year I had a wedding back home in Michigan. I flew for that. Really here in town, I haven't even really hit the scene, but that's finna change. I'm finna get more involved around in the Brazos Valley, but man, I'm always driving somewhere to DJ, but I love it because wherever I go, I always get something.
Yeah. You always get something out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that. Now tell us about Chances3440. Okay. What exactly is that?
That's my company, my brand. It's called Chances because I just took chances for me to be here. It was a choice and a chance that I had to take for me to get here, and I feel like everything in life involves that. You got to take a chance if you wanna get something, or if you want to get to that level. It was originally called Chances Make Champions, but it's evolved. And the 3440 is the address off of the house in Saginaw that I grew up in. I'm known there. Really, that was my first club. This house on Harold Street, 3440. It's next door to a store. Okay. So it's a parking lot. So since a kid, I've seen and had access to this parking lot space.
Yeah.
So
you took advantage of it.
I took advantage.
You gotta take advantage of it.
You got to.
A lot of people, they'd be passing up opportunities like that. You know what I mean? And I'm glad you jumped on it.
Yeah.
I'm glad you jumped on it.
Appreciate it.
Now, how did you come in to getting linked up with Hip Hop Global? How did that happen?
Oh wow. It started with
We can go into details.
Oh man, so when I first got here to Bryan College Station, my first job was Zoomies and Pla Gym. So I'm at Pla Gym. I ended up meeting this guy, my homeboy BJ, and we started talking because we had some of the similar interests as far as music and artists and stuff. And at the time, so you gotta think this is when T Grizzly first day out. It was new.
Like 2016, right?
It was back then.
Yeah.
Like that was one of the anchor points of us getting cool. He knew about Detroit music way back then, but he was designing. He was in the beginning stages of designing graphic design, like for covers or for whatever. And I needed some coverage design for some screw music I was working on. Like even though I'm from Detroit, so my dad moved to Houston. In 1990 or 91 or something.
The prom Houston.
Bro,
Wow.
he really seen the whole SUC stuff in real time. But he was a tape man from back in the day. So like back in the day, like if your cassette tape got broke, it was certain people who could fix them and splice. He was that dude then. So he always had tapes and CDs. He was the first person that played screw music for me.
Oh wow.
Like my cousin who's back in Michigan, I remember that ride. He was like, my dad was like, you know about screw? My cousin was like, no, he ain't ready for that. But when he put it in, me already want to be a DJ. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
So all that led up to I'm here in Texas working. Me and my boy BJ working on the cover for my screw YouTube page, which still existing. It just grew from there.
Now let's switch gears. Now let's go into a little bit of the mainstream stuff. Talk to us about the YSL situation. How do you feel about that?
Oh man, that's a tough thing. I hope everybody really seeing now how, in the grand scheme of things, no matter what you do, you got to be real tight with who's in your circle, because you never know who's who and
who's gonna fold.
Who's gonna fold? Everything is good when you got the money and all of this, and when you're doing what you're doing, but when they get people in that room, they switch. But one thing I really think, and I stand on, and shout out to Thug. I feel like Lord forbid, because I don't never want nobody to get no football numbers, but I know people who got them. But I feel like even if they get him 20, he gonna take it on the chin and walk. Like he ain't gonna, you know what I mean? He ain't gonna point no fingers. He gonna take his time and he gonna come out and he gonna be straight. And I really feel like, even though it's sad, this generation needs to see somebody who willing to stand on what they've done like that, because it's way too much telling. Like, but kids learn from other people's mistakes. That's
yeah, that's what I've learned. Now you're heavy into fashion and art. Now let's talk about that. Like, let's talk about the fashion and the art stuff. Because you color coordinated right now. You know what I mean? Let's talk about it.
Thank you. Shout out, man. Shout out my grandmother, my mom, my uncle, Hollywood. I've always been around people who just were into fashion. Then and that's on my mother's side, but on my dad's side, the art really hit for me. His brother, my Uncle Larry, who was ironically, I forget what you call it, but he worked in this big spot where he a tailor.
Okay.
So
he makes like suits and stuff. Is that what it is, right?
He make like suits, and he make a lot of different things for that type of fashion world, like high end stuff. Like he's sewing and everything. I remember he used to have his designs on the wall with different color palettes as a kid. So that threw me with the art, and it was fashion at the same time. So
and you really grew up around all that stuff. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about your affiliation with Kels L'Oreal and Fashion House.
Okay. Man, that's my shout out to my boy Kels. That's my boy. And I got on this one of the work. This a Fashion House work shirt, like
the Mona Lisa.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah.
Now where's he located at?
We right around the corner from each other. I'm not far from the farm patch in town.
Okay.
And he a little ways up from me, but man, it started about my affiliation with him started over a year ago. When I still was during my first year here, when I just met my homeboy BJ, Kels ended up linking up with me somehow. I spun for him over there at my old place in Harvey. Then we went our separate ways for years. So a year ago we linked back up. I went over there. He making beats, hung out a couple times. After about a couple months, I set up my DJ set up there and just left it.
Yeah.
So I started going every weekend
and just doing stuff, just DJing, just working.
Man, we either DJing or he producing. We may be watching Fashion Week or watching this. We designing like this. The whole reason this even came about was because we had been over there spending so much time working on this, working on that, just bouncing back and forth, and it just went from there. But man, it's a real good vibe over there. Definitely gotta get you over there too.
Oh yeah, you definitely gotta let me know.
Yeah.
Definitely. Now, as a DJ in 2023, why do you still spin Seroto vinyl?
Alright, I still fool with the vinyl because of the feel. Like I was out there this year, and it's a lot of people who on the digital side now. And it's a lot of dope equipment, but I don't care how they do it. They'll never be able to duplicate the sound you get off of the scratch or the flex of the wrist when you're using that wax. Like so.
Yeah, the scratching go hard. A lot of people don't do that no more. Like that's what I realized. Like when I go to like a club or something, they'll just play. Yeah. They don't do none of that no more. It's like a lost art, I guess you can say. And that's what I've realized. Now, Crossing State mixtape. What's going on with that, and when can we expect it?
Man, Crossing State Lines was supposed to came out. We were supposed to put that together for years at this point, but so much has come in between. But I say my goal is to at least have it released sometime this year in 23. But it's exactly what it sounds like. I want to put all I got together, Crossing State Lines, because I'm in tune with so many different artists and producers and DJs and personalities from all across, not even just the country, but the world. We're gonna start with Crossing State Lines, and it's gonna go from there.
Yeah,
you know
most
what I mean?
definitely, most definitely.
In my mind, though, sometimes I say, like me or my partner, we'll say, like, man, it'd be dope to have them on one of their beats, or it'd be dope to have them shoot one of their videos, and it all involves really crossing county lines, state lines, because we pulling, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, you told me back in the day you got to link up with DJ Paul.
Yeah.
Now, he's one of my favorites, so let's talk about how that even happened.
Man, you know? I gotta give it up to Florida. And shout out to J. Sanborn Entertainment, because that's the guy who took me down there, who hired me. And shout out to my boy DJ Vinyl, my boy Ryan, because he's the one who introduced me to J. Sanborn, whom I work for when I'm in Florida. But during these days, I work the beach stage, so it's literally a stage on the beach. In the daytime, you get burnt. When I came back that year, man, I looked like I was Haitian. I was so dark.
Oh man.
But I got cooked. But I found out one day that, well, I knew Juicy J was coming to town, and he was RIP Club La Vila. Juicy J played Club La Vila, but I didn't know Paul was in town, and Paul ended up rocking my stage. I'm out there setting up, and I got the news, oh, somebody gonna come out there to play, and I be dog, it was DJ Paul. And he came out there, he had a box of stuff, he had t-shirts, I still got my hat, he had barbecue sauce, his own. Crazy, right?
That's crazy.
But
I don't think I ever heard of a rapper or a DJ with barbecue sauce.
Look it up. I believe he still got it. Like,
I like the hustle.
Yeah,
I like the hustle.
For real.
That's crazy. Now, let's see. Is there any final words or shout outs that you want to give to anybody before we wrap this up?
I want to give shouts out to everybody everybody in the Brazos Valley who did rock with us and been helping us along the way. Been giving us directions on which way to go. Shout out to Curious Collections record store where I'm at right now. I got people who work here we've been friends for years, and they know my journey, I know their journey, so shout out. It's like we grew together, so shout out to them. Shout out to Hip Hop Zone Global for always doing what they do. Shout out Mom, and shout out my boy Zach. I know y'all be seeing the people out there at the spot when he got the shop popping. So keep shopping with him, cause man, bro,
appreciate that.
For real, I was excited that you was interviewing me, man, because you already a legend around. You ain't done working at all, but man, everybody know who you is.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Now that's it for now from South Central. This is Zach.
This is DJDC.
And we'll see y'all next time. Peace.